This Choircast podcast episode is brought to you by The Reconstructionist by Jonathan J. Foster. With so much changing in our society around sexuality, authority, patriarchy, religion, truth, and more, what we need is a book to help us navigate those changes while keeping love at the forefront. The Reconstructionist is that kind of book. Pick a copy up today on Amazon or any other fine digital retailer. The Reconstructionist. People greater than text, mercy greater than sacrifice, and love greater than fear.
Sorry to interrupt the episode, guys, but this episode is also brought to you by the Deadly Faith merch shop. Guys, I'm so excited. I have, for the last couple of months, been working really hard on some new graphics to drop some really sick ass merch for you. And it dropped literally just a couple weeks ago. Lola has ordered some pieces and they came in and I could not be happier. Two of my favorite pieces, I've made one where it says adventure awaits, but then at the bottom it says, but so do serial killers. So maybe not. It's just so funny. There's two different versions of that shirt. They're so cute and they've got some like camping vibes going on, very gender neutral. There's also a skeleton hand that's holding a lit match. And then it says, this little light of mine. I love it. They're so cute. And you can get them in t-shirts. You can get them in sweaters. You can get them in hoodies. I've picked the colors that look perfect with the graphic. Go over there, get you some merch. We love it. Show us some love. You just don't want to miss out on this drop. Come on. Anyways, we love you guys. Back to the show.
Hey, heathens, you're listening to the Deadly Faith Podcast, where religion and crime collide. I'm Lola.
And I'm Laci.
And this shit is unfortunate.
The mind that was in Jesus, that mind is in me.
Without me, life has no meaning.
Why would God tell you what I'm thinking and tell you what I've said to my wife or my husband when you're not around? It's because I'm the pastor of the church and I need to know.
This is the only place where you can see truth.
Oh, that's so sad.
Oh, it's not a puppy dog. It's something worse.
It is. It's not an aw, it's a aw.
But before we get into trigger warnings, Laci has a message.
Yes, listeners, we all love staying connected, but have you ever thought about keeping your online activities safe and private? That's where NordVPN comes in. With NordVPN, you can browse the web securely and access content from all around the globe. No restrictions. So you want some Netflix that they're playing over in the UK? Bam! Change your VPN, you get access to it. Plus, for a limited time, you can save 72%. Yes, you heard that right. 72% off your subscription, and you get an extra 3 months free on top of that. So imagine streaming your favorite shows without worrying about prying eyes or annoying geo-blocks. NordVPN makes it easy. So what are you waiting for? Visit our link in the show notes and take control of your online privacy today. That's 72% off plus 3 extra months of peace of mind with NordVPN. Stay safe, stay private, and enjoy your browsing. Back to the show.
So our trigger warnings today are domestic abuse and death.
Okay. Oh, those are just two, but two big ones. Some biggies. I don't like that.
Cashing in my 2-for-1 coupon. Why did I say that? Anyway, so Bethany Ann Deaton, I think is how you say it, born on October 15th of 1985 in San Antonio, Texas. She's the eldest of 5 siblings raised in a devout Christian home.
Oh,
yes,
we're going back to my stomping grounds. That's where my brother and sister live, is in San Antonio. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Bethany was a romantic. Her friend from school, Taryn, this is college specifically, Taryn said that Bethany would often write love letters to her future husband and daydream about her future.
Oh my gosh.
Sweet love.
Also, same. I did the same fucking thing, especially like as like a young Christian and you're like dreaming of marriage.
Of course. I mean, that's what you're bred for. That's what you're made for.
Exactly. What was it, an episode here that I talked about? Like I wrote the letters to my husband. Yeah.
I forget which person specifically, but yeah, we've talked about this before. So, well, Bethany was also a bookworm. Yes, girl. She loved Charles Dickens specifically. And she was not only interested in reading, but in storytelling. So
Oh,
It's close to our hearts. Come on.
It is. A girl after our own hearts.
Mm-hmm. And she had a gift for writing. Anyone who read her work agreed that it was emotionally moving and poetic. She was just a well-written person, you know, even if it wasn't something emotionally charged. She just was really good on paper, you know?
Do you give me permission to look up a picture of her while you're telling the story? Okay.
Yeah. She and her siblings were homeschooled. And in 2005, she started studying at Southwest University to become a more skilled writer. In her first semester, she would meet a group of friends who were like-minded Christians. They were kind of like a club, a secret society, exclusive, very close-knit. Very close-knit.
She's also adorable. I just looked at her picture.
Yeah.
She is.
So this group, they would talk about, obviously, Christ and the Bible, but also they all love to read, too. Specifically, fantasy. So they liked Lord of the Rings, Chronicles of Narnia, even Harry Potter, which is a little bit like, that was interesting to me.
Christian circles, like they will, And it's funny because like many Christian circles will like make an exception for Lord of the Rings and like Chronicles of Narnia. And they're like, that's
because Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were like Christians. Well, Tolkien came along later on in life because of C.S. Lewis converting him. But yeah, it's like they can kind of see Christian connections in the writing. So, but with Harry Potter,
Potter's like straight up like we're casting spells, we're demonic, like
we're killing people. I mean,
making the frogs gay. I'm just kidding.
Thank you.
You're welcome for that soundbite.
So, in this group of friends was Tyler Deaton, not a good Tyler, not our Laci's Tyler.
No, not my Tyler.
Tyler grew up in a very strict Presbyterian household. He was tall, handsome, charming, smart. I mean, some would say the total package, but he struggled.
Oh, no.
He struggled inside. Tyler was gay.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad to be gay, but when
just in that Christian circle, though, that they've got, and, you know, growing up Presbyterian, that's just not something that's widely accepted. So he obviously was in the closet, and he fought against this, but it's not a choice. We all know this. And it wasn't
not a
simple
lifestyle choice.
Yeah. Now, he was under the impression that it was a choice. And so he, like, his goal was to drive deeper into his religion to try and fight off these feelings, which is heartbreaking, honestly. Having to
so sad.
Deny yourself of who you are, you know, so deny your heart.
I'm gonna plug a book really quick.
Yeah.
I'll think of it later on, guys. Okay. I'm sorry. But there is a book about a guy who grew up Christian and he knew he was gay and he spent years digging into the research and digging into like the Bible and trying to figure out like, is it a sin? Is it not a sin? He went and saw therapists and it's a really good book. It's like his like coming out story and like his trials through growing up, being a Christian and finding out he's gay and everything that it was such a beautiful read. I will, while you're still talking, I'll think of it, but I'll plug it in the show notes because it's a good one.
Link that for us because that's interesting. Well, so Tyler, he's got this internal battle and with this fragmented mindset of like, let me drive deeper into my religion to fight off my, you know, natural desires.
Yeah.
He becomes angry, kind of adopting a mindset like you're with me or against me motto.
Yes. Oh, that's sad.
And he didn't shy away from confrontation. He actually almost encouraged it in a way. He liked debating and things like that.
Yeah.
Tyler found himself feeling right at home with this group of college friends because they were going to keep him on the right path towards his religion. You know, they were all holding him accountable. You know, he told them about his struggles, you know, and they were like,
wow,
we got you.
Wow.
And
we got you. Celibacy it is, my friend.
Celibacy. So Tyler was a bit of a leader for the group, though. Like, not a named leader, but everyone like looked at him on like final decisions and like, do you encourage this? Do you not encourage this? Should we do this? Should, you know, that kind of thing. Who's allowed in the circle, who's not? Because like I said, it's exclusive, this little college circle.
Okay, it's kind of feeling a little bit more hoity-toity as we go into it.
And I promise we'll get back to Bethany.
Okay.
I promise it'll come to that. So,
also, really quick, that book is called Torn. It's Rescuing the Gospel from the Gay versus Christians Debate, and it's by Justin Lee. It's super good read. We will link it in the show notes. Please go get it. It's an amazing book.
So Tyler's friends described him as having this like magical aura to him. It drew people to him naturally, which I just think is charm, because before he's been described as charming. And Tyler liked this. It boosted his ego, made him feel good, you know?
Well, look, an up-and-coming mega pastor.
That's what I was worried about. So with this whole like aura thing he's got going for him, others also view him as like closer to God because of the vibe he's giving off.
Oh, no. Now we're coming cult leader vibes.
And he's already trying to delve deeper into God. So like them saying, oh, you must be so close to God. It's just like fueling this. Okay, yeah, so maybe I am actually growing closer. Maybe I am fighting off these things.
It's the cycle. It's like feeding the monster, and the monster keeps growing, and then it's feeding and it's growing.
This is bad. Yeah. This is bad. Red flag.
Yeah, red flag.
So
Lots
as luck would have it, Bethany also finds herself drawn to him, but more than the others, more intimately. She is falling for him.
Oh, no.
When she met him, she was like, this is the man I prayed for, that I wrote letters to, etc. Like, this is the guy. God.
Oh, gosh. I feel that. You say that, and I'm like, oh, I feel that. Because, like, I was
And I don't blame her for this. Like,
I did that.
That's super pure-hearted
No.
to think that, like,
so, yeah.
It's a supernatural connection with someone, you know? And they do exist, you know, soulmates exist. I believe so. So
I can see that.
So yeah, she's buying into God has destined us to be together. Skip to 2 years later. So they're still in college together. Tyler goes to Pakistan for a mission trip with his church, and he has a lot of spiritual experiences over there. He's like super on fire when he comes back. He said that God spoke to him over there, directly to him.
Yeah.
But when he got home, everything was normal. The whole like hearing God kind of like stopped, except for one night. He's at Barnes & Noble for the midnight premiere sale of Harry Potter Deathly Hallows. Specifically.
Oh, shut up.
I knew you'd love
Shut
this.
the fuck up right now. Oh, my God.
So he's in line at this midnight premiere sale, and he hears God again, and God tells him to start a worship group. And the direct quote is, what you have done in Pakistan, you will do at Southwestern College.
Okay.
So the whole mission trip, everything he did over there, all the work he did, he's got to replicate it here. So in the fall of 2007, same year that he comes back from this, he goes back to college. The group meets up again. It's just like old times. He's like, hey, guys, this time we got to get serious about the group, though. So let's forget our fantasy book stuff for a minute and let's really dig into Bible study more, you know? Let's get into the verses more. I noticed that it's normally at this point when you abandon other interests and opinions that you enter the dangerous ground for toxic theological ideas. And I am right on target with it too, apparently. That's where this is going. Just where you hope it won't go.
It's giving the vibe, like right at the beginning of my deconstruction journey, I was still heavily involved in church, and we had like we had small groups in our church, and I helped host one, and it was a like mom's small group. It was not like religious, biblical, theological, like there was no goals of that. It was literally just a small group for the women, the moms to come together, to grow, to community, fellowship, have some good food, have some talk. It was a decompressed time. Like let our kids play.
Oh, no.
That was what it was.
Oh, no.
After a semester, it was me and two other moms who put it on. And this one other mom was like,
no,
God's put it on my heart that we're going to need to turn this into like a Bible study. And then like at this point, like everybody knew that I was going through some shit, you know? And so I was like, I will not be partaking.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Because she wanted it to be this like Bible study. Like she wanted to turn it into a Bible study where like we study this chapter and we talk about it. Like, what did we get from it? What did we get from this? Blah, blah. And I was like, respectfully, I will not be participating. Like, if you guys want to do that, do you, boo. But like, I will just sit here. Like, I'm not going to participate. And after like 3 weeks of it, I was like, I am going to politely recuse myself from one of the leaders in this group, because the way that the group is going is not what the vision I had in mind, what we had started it. And that's kind of like what it's
It has
given.
an agenda now, whereas to before it was more freeform. Yeah.
And that's what it's feeling like with him. He's like, let's, forget about the, fantasy stuff. Like, let's dig deeper in the Bible. Like, that's like exactly what she said. And no shame to her. It just wasn't how the group started. And I was not in a place to read my Bible.
Same.
Because I was very much like, no, I'm not sure I believe in that thing anymore. And so I'm like, I ain't picking it up.
I think that thing is tainted. And I'm right. Anyway.
Yeah.
So December that same year, 2007, Tyler attends, I'm sorry, you're going to think this is funny, but I'm going to call it this over and over. It's called the International House of Prayer, IHOP. IHOP.
Oh, do you know what the IHOP is?
No.
Do you not know what IHOP is?
I can't get into this right now. We got too many other details. We'll deal with it later, okay?
Oh my gosh. IHOP just had an explosive expose with the founder of it.
The International House of Prayer?
This whole big thing.
Okay, great.
Yes. Yeah, because they got sued by IHOP. And now they have to call themselves IHOP KC because that's where their headquarters are, is in Kansas City.
Who has to call it the Pancake House or the Prayer House?
No, the Prayer House has to call themselves IHOP KC because IHOP, the Pancake House, sued them.
Okay, well, we're talking about IHOP KC then. This organization encourages end times teachings. So like the return of Christ, preparing a way for the Lord, so on and so forth. The sermons that Tyler hears at these like little services he's attending, he's already feeling on fire after this like mission trip. And now this is like just something bigger. He's more inspired. He's ready. Like this is the way for him. This is the way.
Yeah. Also, IHOP, Casey, they have 24/7 prayer and worship, praise and worship, like prayer. It's very intense.
It's extremely intense. Like I could do a whole other episode just on them, but I can't do that right now. That is a whole other thing. So yeah. The second coming of Christ was the one thing that Tyler was anticipating, and he was obsessed with it. So guess what? He finds a new book. So he's a book lover. All these people are. This book combines his love of fantasy and end times doctrine, which I didn't even think could exist. It's called The Final Quest by Rick Joyner. I didn't read it. Full disclosure.
Rick fucking Joyner.
I did learn from it so that you don't have to go read it. It's a Christian fiction book that captures the Christian walk amid the battle of good and evil with like fantasy type creatures and scenarios.
Yes.
Whatever. I'm sure it's a fine read, but like, whatever. This is not a plug. This book obviously solidified a lot of end times teachings for him and for the group as a whole. They all read the book. They're like, yes, this is it. This is the way. And we've all read Revelation in the Christian circles if you were like in a cult. And obviously there's a lot of fantastical imagery and symbolism and metaphors in it. So like, this is how they're making sense of it, like connecting with fantasy. Because at first you're like, okay, that's just fairy tales. That's just, folklore. It's not realistic. But if you subscribe to fundamentalist Christianity, the book of Revelation is telling of the future with fantastical beasts. And it all makes sense. It all comes together. So,
oh my God, it's giving the Lori Vallow and we can't get into it. We haven't covered that case, which we will.
But it's coming.
We can't get into it, but that
one's coming. You guys have requested that one. It's coming. So spring of 2008, the worship group grew in numbers to around 20 members, with Tyler now as the official head of the body. So he has been named leader. And he's now offending and making some group members question him. One thing he started doing was criticizing couples that were together, saying like, oh, you're not a good like match by God, so you should be with this person instead. He's like trying to assert full control over members when it comes to their personal lives.
Yeah.
He also begins to punish people that do things he doesn't like. So specifically, if you flirt...
Oh my God. Okay, you went straight cult leader.
So if you start flirting with other people, or like you told a joke or a story that he didn't like, he would just give you the silent treatment, or he would have the rest of the group shun you.
Cult leader. Like I said, he went full straight cult leader.
And still on brand with cult leader, he had full permission to flirt or make small advances on the guys he liked in the group.
What?
So some of the male members say they felt like they couldn't say no to Tyler when he wanted to like play wrestle or cuddle or anything like that. Tyler told them.
Oh my God.
Tyler would tell them that it's a sign of close friendship and camaraderie, and it's nothing to be like, nothing to worry about. And his opinion meant a lot to the group, so they just accepted it, which is coercion, guys. It's coercion.
Absolutely coercion. Because you can't tell me he wasn't getting his rocks off.
Oh, yeah.
With the wrestling and the cuddling.
But this whole group, remember that
cuddle. I haven't even cuddled with you. And you're my best friend.
We might, but like...
I would cuddle with you.
If
but
we get enough subscribers to the Patreon, we might. I'm just kidding.
Cuddle.
So this group of college kids,
that's crazy.
Remember, they are still figuring everything out. They're college kids. They know nothing. And they are assuming that this person is a direct link to God, another one of their peers. I promise, we're coming back to Bethany. I know we're just like putting little crumbs for you, but follow the trail. Come with me. It's not Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Bethany is still crushing on him hard. She's also sad that like 3 years of her trying to get with him, he just doesn't notice her. It's all been for nothing.
Oh gosh, but you don't have a dick, honey. I'm so sorry.
I know. I can fix him. Really, I can. I'm sorry, baby. Don't.
I know.
So December of 2008, a student at Southwestern passes after being hit by a car. His name is Rob Atkinson, and he is a well-known philosophy student who's very much against Tyler's group and Tyler's teachings. He actually debated him, and Tyler takes this as a sign from God saying, I will destroy your enemies, and you're in the right. And the group celebrated Rob's passing. That is such a mockery. And Rob Atkinson, rest in peace. I'm so sorry for what they did. That is super bad. So you can see we're entering a more dangerous territory where we're celebrating horrible things.
My God.
Huh.
A tragic death. And they're like, yay, God's taking out my enemies. What in the fuck?
To celebrate one of your peers' tragic passings.
If your theology has brought you so far down a hole that you are praising, you are excited, you are celebrating
then
the tragic death of somebody else,
you should reassess.
You need to sit the fuck down.
Reassess and go to therapy.
Sit the fuck down.
Okay, so skipping past this, it's 2009. Graduation year for Bethany. She graduated magna cum laude with her bachelor's in English and Spanish. But she didn't get straight to work. Instead, she follows Tyler to IHOP KC headquarters in Grandview, Missouri.
Oh, God.
So that's where the headquarters were at that time. Obviously, it's changed. Some of the other group members also followed. IHOP KC was expanding their organization by buying several acres of land for new buildings. As they expanded, they also needed leaders. So both Bethany and Tyler join an internship at the organization where they're studying and praying every single day. So the hours are from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for them. But like it's like Laci said, it's around the clock prayer and worship and study. Like it's more than a full-time job.
They have like these, you had requirements you had to meet. You had your normal like 8 to 6 that you were there like at the facility doing certain things, and you had certain time slots where you had to be in the prayer room because they had this big thing. Every prayer room, it has to be going 24/7. There can't be a stop.
Because you must be speaking directly with God the entire time to make good things happen and for the end times to occur. So
they want revival, and like the revival is their sign that the end times are coming.
So one late night in the prayer room with Bethany, Tyler said that he was overcome with love for her, and they began dating. But their new group at IHOP KC said that they weren't really convinced. It looked like fake dating. There was no PDA, no loving glances. They didn't even kiss until they were engaged.
Yeah, it's his cover.
The beard. I hate that.
Yeah, it's his cover.
So Bethany was still convinced that this is the man of her dreams. She had wanted to be with him so long, and she actually dreamed of having a son with him, and she wanted to name him Samuel. And she dreamed that Tyler would just become the husband that she wanted and needed. You know, she thought with time, with more prayer, with more work, it's going to happen. And Tyler actually called her dreams selfish.
You asshole.
Yeah. So in 2010, Tyler was pushing members of the IHOP KC community to cut ties with their outside friends and family. He had taken IHOP KC's original end times teaching to a different level. So he was kind of going off the beaten path there a little bit. At the same time, Tyler and Bethany, they date from 2010 to 2011, but they don't see each other very often because Bethany actually goes to nursing school across state lines in Kansas. And she's doing really well in school in this time. But her close friend Taryn from college, she says, I see a change in her. She seems jumpy and insecure and less cheerful, which is just not like her.
Oh, poor baby.
So in August of 2012, Bethany graduates with her, she has like a fast track nursing program that she was part of. And so she graduates that and she gets married to Tyler Deaton in 2012.
Oh, God.
Their ceremony was awkward.
I can imagine.
It was pretty in pictures, but the guests said that like the day was just awkward and weird and uncomfortable. And some even called it a mistake. Their loved ones were hopeful they would get closer on the honeymoon. They stayed 3 weeks in Costa Rica, and it did not do the trick. They were not affectionate. They did not have sex on the honeymoon, much to Bethany's disappointment.
Oh, my God.
When they came home, Bethany was even less like herself. Taryn said she was more uneasy, more unsure of herself, and Bethany actually sought out advice from counselors and friends for her marital issues, but nothing really helped.
No, because he's gay.
I know.
He doesn't want to have sex with you. You don't have a penis, honey. I'm so sorry. That breaks my freaking heart for her.
I know.
That is just awful. And he knew what he was doing.
Mm.
Yeah. It's so...
So Bethany rarely spent any nights in Tyler's bed, but instead in her old room at the IHOP headquarters. So like they each were in charge of the houses. So like the men and women live separately. And so Tyler was like head of the guy's house and Bethany was in charge of one of the girls' houses. And so like they had originally just stayed in separate houses for a long time, but now she's like going back to her old room at the women's house and everything. It's super sad. And the issues began to roll over into their worship group, obviously. And Bethany, if she would try to speak up about any of their issues, Tyler would publicly humiliate or scold her or shun her. His own wife.
Yes. Oh, this is fucking tragic.
And remember, most of their friends are in this group, so she doesn't have outside friends besides, Taryn, but she's not speaking to her a whole lot either. She's being isolated from other family too, so they were not in the loop. Like Taryn and her family weren't in the loop about everything, so Bethany's feeling very, very alone.
My heart is so heavy right now. But it's because and I know you know this too, when you grow up Christian, especially in many Christian circles, you are taught like that is the whole purpose you have been created, is to be a wife and to be a mom, but you have to be celibate, or like not celibate. You have to, be pure. You have to have abstinence.
Be a daughter of Christ.
And
be
they
Proverbs 31 woman.
Yes, they build up this desire and this fantasy of what marriage looks like, what sex looks like, what it feels like, what it's going to be like. They create this entire fantasy and you build it up so much. She's writing letters to this man.
And it's the only identity you've known. You're not anything outside of it.
And so she's stepping into this marriage with this entire fantasy in her head of what this is going to be, look and act and feel like. And it, in a matter of moments, is just fucking exploding.
It feels
And
helpless.
nothing is
and
like
hopeless.
what she wants. Yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine how she felt, except I would say it was probably, like you said, hopeless.
Devastation.
Complete devastation. Oh, breaks my heart.
It gets worse for Bethany. I'm sorry. So September and October of 2012, Bethany's emotional and mental health continues to decay. So their worship group is noticing now. They are expressing in emails to each other and to Tyler that they are even afraid she's going to hurt herself or take her life. And they kind of were on the mark, ?
What?
October 25th of 2012, Bethany took a cup of windshield wiper fluid with her when she confronted Tyler about their marriage. Tyler ended up getting the cup away from her before she consumed anything, and then he called the police.
What?
A chilling
Windshield
statement.
wiper fluid?
I know. I don't really know anything about that, but
Well, antifreeze, I know that'll
it's toxic.
fucking kill you, painfully kill you, but windshield wiper fluid, I don't fucking know.
A chilling statement that she told police when they showed up. She said it would be easier to die than to change. And I don't know if she meant that for like her or for him or both.
Yeah.
She was taken to Truman Medical Center after this and put in protective custody. She told nurses and doctors several times that she was damned and she cannot be saved. She was saying horrible things about herself. And then
I bet she was referencing herself. Like, it'd be easier to die than to change, because I'm assuming she's saying, I can't change and be who he expects or wants me to be.
I can't be what he
okay
wants.
with our marriage the way that he has it set up. Like, I'm not okay with that. I can't change. I can't make myself okay.
But if this is the path set for me, it would be easier to die.
Yeah.
Ugh. She was released 2 days after she was admitted to the hospital.
2
Against
days?
Tyler's opinion. He was like, no, she should stay. But Bethany returned home, but she was depressed. She was not like helping around the house, like the women's house. She was behaving lethargically. And the community house, the women's house, they threatened to kick her out if she didn't pull her weight. They didn't care about her mental health. They didn't give a fuck.
Oh my God. She just got out of the grippy sock vacation.
They don't give a fuck.
And it wasn't even a long one. It was 2 days.
Even in 2012. They didn't care. So
assholes.
Tyler heard about her slacking off and gave a damning sermon on selfishness right afterward. And Tyler described seeing her during the service. He said she was curled into a ball and looked mortified.
You piece of shit.
He just knows how to, like, when you're down, kick a little more, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to take that knife that I've just stabbed you with and I'm going to fucking grind it into you.
So here's where we come to the day of all days, the reckoning, the final reckoning. Okay.
Oh, no.
October 30th, 2012 is a normal Tuesday at the community house. Bethany stopped by the women's house to drop off some items to the ladies that lived there. The ones that spoke to her said she was quiet and distant. The ladies asked if she was going to the hospital to work, because she worked at a hospital as a nurse at this point. She said no. They asked, where are you going that day? And she said, I don't know. Surveillance at a nearby Walmart showed Bethany, and then she is seen at a Flying J rest stop afterward. And her debit card was used at both of these, so they do know it was her. 12 hours after this, a call from a park ranger comes into Jackson County Sheriff's Office that at the Longview Lake Picnic Shelter, the body of Bethany Deaton had been found.
Oh, my God.
She was in her car, which was a van kind of thing. She was in the third row of seats in a Ford Windstar, and she was sitting on the right-hand side, leaned against the window. Next to her were 2 bottles of Tylenol PM. One was empty, the other was unopened. There was a white plastic bag tied over her head, and a notebook was found in the car that Bethany had been writing in. The writings were clearly scattered and anxious, and she was in need of mental health assistance. The first reaction officers had, obviously, it's a clean-cut suicide. They easily identified her based on a suicide note that was with her as well. I will read you this letter now. My name is Bethany Deaton. I chose an evil thing. I did it because I wouldn't be a real person, and what is the point of living if it is too late for that? I wish I had chosen differently a long time ago. I knew it all and refused to listen. Maybe Jesus will still save me.
I am going to go out on a fucking limb here and say that was not written by her.
So at the beginning, I told you she is a very well-written person. None of that was well-written.
Not just that, but like, if you are committing suicide, the suicide letters that I have written usually start with, I'm sorry, I had to do this. I love you, XYZ person, this and that. This sounds like somebody who is mad at her, wrote it, and had her say the things that they felt about her.
I knew it all and refused to listen.
Exactly.
So like she knew going into the marriage that he struggled with his sexuality and didn't listen that like, this is how it needs to be. In order to please God, we need to put up this fake marriage in a way. I'm thinking the same thing that you're thinking. However, officers don't have all the information yet.
No, they don't.
So, but they just know that this is how they found her. She's used 2 different methods ensuring her own suicide, you know, and they've note to confirm it. It's all there. So something that caught their attention, though, she was wearing her diamond wedding ring, and inside the car were some unfinished thank you cards from the wedding. It looked like she was actually working on them before she decided to kill herself, which is a weird time to suddenly stop writing and do that.
And the bag over the head.
What is that telling you?
I can't get over the bag around the head because here's the thing: women don't normally do that. A bag is over your head if you're being
make sense
murdered
to me,
right? And it is natural if you are like starving for air. It is natural for your body to fight against that and to find a way to get air. So if you are conscious enough to put the bag on your head and tie it, you are going to run out of oxygen, in my opinion, in that bag.
Naturally, you're going to start clawing at that area.
Yes, before the medicine is able to kick in. And so I would see marks. I would think that the bag wouldn't even fucking be there because she would just try to let the pills do their job and kill her in her sleep kind of thing. I don't fucking buy a bag on your head for a suicide. I don't buy it.
Trust me, I don't either.
Thank you.
I do know that she was in poor, mental health state, but this just doesn't make sense.
No.
So detectives tracked down her husband. And remember, they've been married for like a little over 2 months before this. So they're newlyweds, Oh
my God. It was only 2 months.
This is all in 2012. So one of the detectives said, when I spoke to Tyler, I did not see the reaction I expected from a newlywed. It kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
Oh, shocker. Wonder why.
Within days of her body being found, the body was taken back to her hometown in Texas. Authorities regret making some of these decisions so early on, with the quick decision that it's just a suicide, because Bethany was examined, embalmed, all before the contents of her stomach could be looked at. Because of that decision, the full autopsy was not performed. So we do not have any of that information, which would have been helpful.
I have said this before, and I will say it again, and I will say it until I fucking die. Treat every scene like a fucking murder. I don't care if you suspect. I don't care if you suspect that it's a suicide. Okay, follow the evidence and protect and preserve the crime scene and the victim in case it is a murder. Because if you don't do that, and then you have to realize later on, oh my God, it was a fucking murder, you've just screwed the pooch. You can't collect that evidence. It's compromised. It can get thrown out in any fucking jury trial. The defense will attack it right away, and the judge will be forced to throw that evidence out.
It's just not even worth the effort to even bring up because it's going to get thrown out. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
So on the night that Bethany was found dead, the community where she lived with the women and everything, they met for a prayer service, you know, the men and the women. And it was actually led by someone named Micah Moore. I haven't talked about him yet. Nobody get mad at me about that if you know this case. I didn't bring him up yet because I just didn't think it was relevant. Because it's not relevant later on, as you probably know if you know this name. So Micah Moore was a person that Bethany and Tyler met about 5 years ago back in that college group where they first started. Micah was a very troubled young man, as it was described. He was using substances of illegal fashions. And he was just like not in a good place. He really wanted to find a deeper meaning for his life. And he thought he could find out with their group. They prayed over him and everything. But he was having issues with some of Tyler's doctrine. So he like scooted out.
Yeah.
And he just kind of like faded into the background.
Okay.
So, but Micah was leading this prayer service. Members of the group that were there said that Micah seemed relieved throughout the service. He was laughing. He looked happy. And, you know, he was playing guitar. He, you know,
what?
Kind of weird.
That's fucking weird.
Tyler tells the group, stay upbeat and press into the Lord. This community is bigger than one person. Ugh, disgusting. Disgusting. Yeah.
Are you?
You're a widower. You're a newlywed and now new widower. And that's the first thing you want to say?
I can pull out a fucking Bible verse that tells me that there is a time for grieving. There is a time for weeping. So you shut your goddamn mouth, you son of a bitch. Yeah. I can't. The way I would. I have no words.
Okay. I'm sorry, but it gets worse. I have more direct quotes.
Oh, my God.
So the next day, the worship group convenes again, obviously. And Tyler speaks to them again. And he says, as some of you know already, I am a man who is in love with the idea and crazy paradigms. I don't know. This is a direct quote. And when they brought me Bethany's body, at first I cried, but then I laughed because I said to her, Bethany, if you could see you, you would not like the way you look right now. And last night we had worship time together very briefly as a group, and it was wonderful. It just showed me the Lord's supremacy over this wretched thing that is death. And I thought to myself, what a crazy paradigm. And then I thought Bethany would love my paradigm because she loved me and was so fiercely supportive and believed me hundreds of times when I thought was crazy or heretical. He sounds like he wrote that letter. Anyway.
Yeah, he does. Also, what the fuck?
Such a convoluted.
And I laughed because I thought, if you could see yourself right now, you wouldn't like it.
Who thinks that?
You?
Mm-mm.
I can't. I have to leave.
So they hold a service for her, obviously, like a memorial service. And members of the IHOP KC, like high-ranking ones, come to like pay their respects to a life lost. And during the service, there were some comments that made by like the members of Tyler's community and Tyler that made the IHOP KC people be like, whoa, we don't agree with that, or like, that's not appropriate kind of thing. So the very next day, Tyler was informed by IHOP KC that he was no longer welcome on the church property. This included the community housing that he had spent years trying to cultivate and grow. So his own community, they were like, disband immediately. This is not what we do here.
Do we know what he said that made them go, whoa, motherfucker?
Not specifically. They just said, we heard some alarming things, some things that just didn't sit right with us, kind of thing. They also put out a statement to the press and like to their followers and community. They're like, we do not, like anything you've heard from this community, we don't encourage it. They also said, they like warned against cult dynamics, which is kind of weird.
They were picking up his raunchy shit. Even what he said to the group or to the worship people about Bethany, like that's fucking alarming enough. So even if it was just that, I could see why they would be like, whoa, motherfucker, you're out.
Yeah. So they cut ties with them. So that was the good news. Yeah, so within days, the men's and women's houses were like emptied out, and like parents of people that were underage, they were coming. They had to come and pick them up and stuff. So yeah, that was good. They said like the whole IHOP KC, they were like, pretty much this looks like a cult that was trying to hide in plain sight, and we're sorry that we didn't catch this sooner. And you know, like we don't want anything to do with this. So they were very disappointed with how all that played out, and very remorseful about Bethany's experience, and Bethany's, like, if it was a suicide, they were regretful there was not support there for her. So I will say that was good of them. So November 8th of 2012, the death certificate for Bethany Deaton was signed by a medical examiner and officially listed cause of death as asphyxiation. I'm sorry. I can't say this word.
Asphyxiation. I have to say
Laci
it slow.
said it. Perfect.
I have to say it slow because I'm
Thank you.
Asphyxiation. It's
I'm
a
not
hard
gonna say
one,
it.
okay? Words are hard, people.
And her manner of death as suicide. The day after this, November 9th, the family of Bethany Deaton prepared to finally put her body to rest. However, as they're gathering at the cemetery, her mother got a phone call from the investigators, and they said, "We need her body back. Please don't bury her. So sorry. So sorry. Please, we need that back."
I'm so sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. I'm laughing because I'm uncomfortable. Can you imagine getting a fucking phone call where the cops were like,
we need that back. That's evidence. Anyway.
So sorry. Your dead child that you're about to like put in the ground. Whoa, kind of need that back. So like,
yeah.
I'm going to have some takesies backsies.
So earlier that day, Micah Moore, remember that guy?
Oh.
He walked into Grandview Police Department.
Yeah, the weird one.
Accompanied by two of the IHOP KC leaders. And they said that they overheard Micah making some odd comments at Bethany's memorial. And Micah was here to confess to a crime. In interrogation, Micah Moore told police that he killed Bethany on the orders of her husband, Tyler.
Oh, what the fuck?
He gave the police all the details, which began with Bethany drinking some water laced with Seroquel, which is an antipsychotic, which makes you sleepy. And Micah said after dosing her with this drug, he killed her with his hands. He choked her. And then he put the white, like, plastic trash bag over her head and held it there until her body shook. Micah's confession also included details that the bag appeared to be, inhaled into the mouth of the deceased. Oh, anyway, sorry, that's just a horrible thing to think about. So when Micah comes in, they're like, okay, yes, this was the missing link. This is the piece that doesn't make sense with everything. So, it all made sense in theory.
Yeah.
But it didn't play out with evidence.
What?
He was saying that he had made her sleepy and then done this. Okay. Colonel of the police department says she wasn't asleep based on everything from the crime scene. Most people, when they overdose, their body starts to slowly shut down. That did not happen. Also, they were still some people were still fighting with the whole suicide thing, the letter and everything.
Yeah.
She's a registered nurse. She was working at the hospital 2 days before her death. She could have got something better than Tylenol PM.
Exactly.
Just by the way.
Yeah, I was about to say Tylenol PM. That's it. Also,
I don't know.
Tylenol PM
I know
don't
nothing
do
about
shit.
Tylenol. I don't use Tylenol. I don't think I ever have. Nothing.
What do you use if you have I was about to say, I know you don't do anything.
I do
You're
have.
not. She will suffer through anything to not take medication.
I have a heating pad and the will to live. That's all I've got.
I take ibuprofen. That is what works for me is ibuprofen. If I take Tylenol, it's like I took a sugar pill. I'm like, what is this for?
Yeah.
It's not doing anything.
So there's that on the side there. They're still trying to look into Micah's claims that Bethany had been dosed. Micah also begins to claim that Bethany had been dosed before as a repeated pattern. Like she'd been abused with the Seroquel when she moved into the men's house, Tyler Deaton's house. And he said...
After they got married?
Uh-huh. And the 2 months that they were married, that Bethany had been drugged and sexually assaulted by several men in the house.
What the fuck?
And he said that Tyler wanted her dead because he thought with her deteriorating mental health that she's going to start spilling the beans to people and telling them what's happening to her. Which I don't get that. I'm not sure where that link is, but I can see the paranoia happening there.
I'm also not... Okay, I'm not fully sold on... I believe that he would drug her, but I'm not fully sold on the fact that he's like, hey, everybody, assault my wife. Like, I'm having a hard time with that one.
Micah said some of these sexual assaults were filmed on an iPad. Don't know where this is. Don't know where that evidence is. So after the confession, Bethany's mom was called again by detectives, and they told the family that they needed to do further examination of her body. So they not only just needed the body back, they were going to reopen the investigation on her death fully at this point. Multiple men in the house were interviewed and told detectives they had engaged in sex acts, but not with her, with Tyler.
No.
Your gasp was just on point. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they said over the entire time in the community, like the years that he had been building this whole community, that they were engaging in sex acts with Tyler. And one in particular described it as a long-term thing. So like one, it's like he had a favorite. Like he had a boyfriend.
I don't like that.
He had a boyfriend. Laci's muffling herself with a blanket.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Some of the younger men also describe, which this is horrible, that Tyler had groomed them to be part of sex acts.
Yeah.
And it started with like uncomfortable physical contact and the whole like, wrestling and then cuddle and just like the same things that he was doing at the beginning with his college group.
Bringing their guard down slowly, making them get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah. Pretty much all of the men were saying like they felt manipulated. They felt like they couldn't say no. It was just horrible. One man came forward and said that Tyler had told him about a weird dream that he had about 3 days before Bethany's body was found, where he described suffocating Bethany to death. That's...
That's strange. That's too... coincidences. Do they happen? Yeah, but like this? I don't think so.
With all the things coming up about Tyler and the like scrutiny about the death and like everything that Micah had said, Tyler's looking real bad. So everything's getting a second look, which is great. One of the major pieces of evidence, though, was the suicide letter. We're still talking about that. We're still trying to... What do you do with that? We already pointed it out. She can write. She can write like the best of them. And
she reads Charles fucking Dickens. I mean,
that's
God's
her favorite.
Sake.
So
yeah,
and she studied it in college. I mean,
yes,
she wrote not only creatively but academically. This is just doesn't hold up. So
no, agreed.
They were able to figure out that it was her handwriting. It was her.
What?
But her family said she did not come up with this. This is not something she would have written. If she was going to write anything like this, it would have been much more poetic and beautiful and loving and everything that she was. This just doesn't seem like her. So let's talk about Micah Moore again. His lawyer spoke to the press and released a statement where she said that his confession was fictional. He was distraught. He was a confused young person. Micah, he had confessed in a very manic state. He had not slept for days after an impromptu exorcism performed by the IHOP. And he made all different kinds of claims that no one could verify.
Shut your goddamn face. They did a goddamn exorcism on him?
I don't understand.
No. Did he confess at his exorcism?
No, he confessed in the interrogation. But he probably did.
He made comments, and that's why the IHOP people, was it in his exorcism? Yes. Oh, my God.
Yeah, because they were performing this on him because he was manic and being wild. And they're like, what's wrong with you? Who hurt you? Are you demonized? So all the pieces are connecting, right?
Fucking A.
You see what's happening here.
Yes.
So later in 2012, Micah is indicted on murder charges. Micah's confession placed the blame for the death solely upon himself and Tyler. But by January of 2013, no charges against Tyler are made, surprisingly enough.
There's no evidence.
So Micah enters a not guilty plea, and his attorney says again, he was in a manic state, that he was confused. He had just lost a friend that helped him during a crisis period. He was at her memorial. It was the whole thing, And he was granted bail, and he got out on $250,000 bond. And he declined to make any public comments while awaiting trial. Smart on him.
I was going to say, smart.
Over the next year, things are changing. Things are still happening. More is coming out. Tyler moves back to Texas, where he gets a job working as a pre-cal teacher at a high school in Lancaster.
He's a fucking teacher?
Weird.
But I don't like that.
The tenure was short-lived. He was let go in April because students started Googling his name.
You can always count on those high school students. They will know your shit, motherfucker.
Yes. So Micah is still awaiting trial, and he was looking at a life sentence or perhaps the death penalty. October of 2014, 2 years after Bethany was found dead, all charges against Micah Moore dropped. They looked over the evidence. There's nothing there to link him. There's nothing at all.
No.
They can't do anything.
The suicide note has been scientifically proven that it was written by her. So, yeah.
So it's just not enough. It leaves room for so much doubt. So
it's a losing trial. You walk in, you're losing. There is,
However, so they still are like, yes, she did die of asphyxiation. I said it.
Yeah, you said it fast too. I'm impressed.
I had to get it out. So they still say that is the way that she died, but the manner of death has changed from suicide to undetermined.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Because they still want to keep their options open. They're thinking more evidence is going to come to light. Micah Moore, now he has refused to speak to any media or press. There is a 48-hour special in the case. He is not involved with it. He would not even speak to them.
Yeah, I would assume.
But he has made some comments online in which he blames IHOP KC for his false confession. He says they are not prophets, but manipulators.
You know what? I'm going to give you that one. They were trying to do a fucking exorcism on you.
Micah also said that he regrets ever choosing to follow Tyler Deaton, and he has had no contact with him since. Let's talk about Tyler again.
Hold on, real quick, before we go into Tyler. He had mentioned, I'm just remembering, he had mentioned that he had been up for 48 hours or something like that? IHOP is very known.
Yeah, he'd been up, he hadn't slept in days, because exorcism they can take days.
Yeah, and
they'll keep you awake.
IHOP is known for all night prayer, and that is the number one side effect to no sleep is you get fucking delusional. So
you should see me after 10 p.m. It's over.
Right? Yeah.
You don't
Much less.
You don't want me on here after 10.
We are old as hell. If you go back and listen to the 7M episode,
don't. Absolutely don't.
You can tell Lola is so
I'm crashing out
tired.
hard.
And you could see her in the video. Like there were times like her eyes were like fully closed, and then she'd pop back up, and I'm like, I gotta hurry the fuck up. She's falling asleep.
It was a long case, and we had been up doing cool stuff all day.
And we had.
Okay, back to it. Tyler, he is all about working with 48 hours documentary. He's like, heck yeah. So like on camera, he's like constantly smiling and laughing to serious questions. It's off-putting. It's weird.
My gosh, I have to go watch this.
It's so detached. It's like he's in a disassociated state or something. It's crazy. So he tells 48 Hours investigators, my gift and something that is also a curse is that I am charismatic. I've owned that from the beginning. I'll own it to the end. I can be electric and magnetic. It can affect people. He was asked if he was a cult leader with large amounts of influence over his members. He said, yes, there was influence that was excessive in control, but the image that the media makes of this, like grossly sociopathic, narcissistic, control freak cult leader personality is just dumb. And it drives me crazy. It's like, could we talk about what actually happened? Everybody left me in a day, except for one friend. Everybody left me in a day. If I'm a cult leader, I'm a really bad cult leader. In the course of 10 days, I lost Bethany, lost all my friends, lost the church. They were gone. Tyler continues to reject any assertion that he was involved with Bethany's death.
He made the whole thing about him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can you believe it?
Your wife is dead. Wow. Okay.
So, with that, Bethany Ann Deaton, formerly known Bethany Ann Liedling, case is still open.
I hate that.
Unsolved. She's buried in Arlington, Texas, survived by her parents, Eric and Carol Liedling, as well as her 4 siblings. And her family is very invested in keeping her accomplishments and her beauty remembered, mostly.
Yes.
Because like it's all become about Tyler. It became about Micah, which is why I didn't mention Micah from the get-go. I don't care who comes for me on that. Like, it wasn't relevant in the end. He was just mixed up with the wrong people, like literally all the wrong people.
Yes.
And I don't fault him for that. He was a college kid in a really bad space in life, Right. I would have got caught up with the same shit.
Yeah, same.
So
I joined a cult, so like,
see?
I can't say shit.
So it's all this case, we call the episode Bethany Deaton because it's supposed to be about her. But really it's become all about Tyler and about IHOP and about all these other things. But it is about Bethany and all the things that she did with her life that were so much greater. And I mean, she was young and she had made a lot of accomplishments. I mean, she had her BA in English and Spanish. And then she went to nursing school. She did a fast track program, which fast track programs, it's like, oh yeah, you get out quicker. It's double the work in the shorter amount of time.
My brother did a fast track program, and Lord, I tell you.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job plus some.
Yeah,
it was a lot.
Shade.
Her mom in 2015 was interviewed, and she said, I want people to know that apart from her obvious beauty, the lilt in her voice and her little laugh, her little mannerisms that just reflected a quiet but deeply caring, intelligent, and very loving person.
Do her parents, what do they think?
I didn't get any of that information.
Yeah.
I know that they don't believe the suicide thing.
Yeah, okay.
I know that for sure. I don't know if they blame Tyler. I have a feeling they probably do.
Yeah.
They're not stupid. Come on.
Right.
But I don't know anything about their feelings on like the Micah Moore thing or if they think someone else was involved,
Yeah.
But yeah, so Bethany's death is still unsolved. And
that is so sad.
Yeah. I mean, I really hope more evidence or more information will come to light. Maybe with this whole like godly person that Tyler is, it'll somehow convict him in a way that he'll decide to tell the truth. And Tyler, when you want to tell that truth, I'm happy to give you a platform right here. Happy to talk with you about it. Mainly to police, but also,
Yeah.
this is fine too.
This is fine too. I want to go back. Like, I have no idea. I have no fucking idea what happened. I think it's weird.
Well, let's talk it over. Okay.
I think it's weird that the note was written. It was proven to be written by her. And that science is pretty solid. So
even in 2012 and 2014, like handwriting experts
analysis. Yeah.
It's pretty, we've kind of reached the peak in it, I think.
But if she was drugged in some way and had been drugged for some time for the last couple of months, I can see her being in a state where she's so vulnerable that she's regurgitating a lot of what was said to her.
That's interesting.
So that's just like so far into her head. She's drugged, so she's not thinking clearly. And all she has in her head, because she's so depressed and because this is so consuming of her, is all of the shit that Tyler has said to her.
Yeah. Like,
and
just
that's coming
what it sounds
up
like in this letter.
Yes. Like,
because it sounds like him.
It sounds like what he has
like,
told her. Yeah.
Maybe it's him speaking to himself and to her. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's all of it, you know? Because she doesn't really have a voice in this marriage. Maybe that's physically and emotionally she doesn't have a voice.
No.
And he's literally...
Sexually. She doesn't even have a voice sexually.
I know.
She has fucking nothing. She has been robbed of everything.
Her whole love story was fake.
Yeah.
Which is like probably the thing that like makes me, it like crushes me inside a little bit. Cause like first loves are always really intense. And like most first loves do not work out. And that's okay. But like it shows you the power of what love can be. You know, it's amazing. Like my first love, unfortunately, was my ex-husband, and I would never go back to him, and I don't miss him, but like I cherish that first like feeling of love for the first time and feeling something bigger than me.
Yeah.
You know, like it's an inspiring thing. It makes you want to grow as a person and like be more and do more. And I just hate that like that light in her that she was so hopeful for, it was just like snuffed out, you know?
And there's something to say about those first love kind of relationships, that there is so much learning that can happen. And I'm not trying to plug my book, but I talk about this in my book about...
Please plug it.
Leaving the Sanctuary, available on Amazon. See the link in the bio. So
no, but you do hit on this information too. So
yeah, I grew up in a cult when I was in college. We were not allowed to date, and their whole premise was like not just to stay pure for marriage, but was a huge part of it for our pastor's fucking ego, was that he was saving us from having broken hearts.
God.
But in reality, I was having the same broken heart over and over and over again, because the guy that I liked, that also liked me, we never had the opportunity to be in a relationship. So every fucking time shit would happen and we would both end up being crushed. And I talk about this way more in depth in my book and stuff, but having the relationships I did have prior to getting in the cult, I had like the guy I, lost the big V to. I still talk to him. I've talked to him a couple of times over the last couple of years because I was still really close to his family. And I learned so much out of that relationship, and I still cherish it. Would I go back to it? No. Like, I'm happy it happened, but I'm also happy it ended. And we
can appreciate like the lessons learned with it and the like emotional growth that happened there.
Yes. And my husband and I have had this conversation of, I don't regret marrying him. What I regret is not being able to have relationships prior to him. I was robbed of that. I didn't get to have the relationship and the learning aspect of it in college.
Mm-hmm.
So did it work out for me? Yes. That the first man that I like absolutely fell in love with and I married, and it worked out. Our marriage worked the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many people that I know who have deconstructed their faith and they lost their marriage in the process because they realized they were just not compatible outside of their religion.
Yeah.
And they did just like, we want to have sex so bad, we're going to get married. Like, that shouldn't be a reason that you get married.
Ugh.
And then we also can talk about the fucking being gay. You're not going to fucking hell if you're gay. It is okay.
Mm-mm.
Be in a loving relationship. Don't drag people down around you. No shame to people. I know people in my life who have gotten married because it was the Christian thing to do, you know, and they were gay and they were hiding it the entire time. One of my favorite authors, he's a children's book author, and his name is Matthew Palmer. He had that same situation happen to him. He has kids. He was married, and him and his wife ended up getting divorced, and he came out that he was gay. And I love him to pieces, and his wife, I love her to pieces. But they were able to grow through that together and come to that conclusion and divorce amicably and all of this. But those are the beliefs that we advocate against because it causes so much harm. Is this an extreme case? Yes. But she was so young.
I know. I mean, people told me that I was going to hell.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, I mean, that was the main reason that I ended up leaving because, like, I was kind of shunned in a way.
Because you got divorced, right?
Yeah. And not only that, because I thought I should still have a chance at love. I should still have a chance because, like, I did hold up my responsibilities as a wife. I did my best. And that should have been enough. And, like, I don't think that God finds falling in love and creating a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage as a reason to send someone to hell, you know?
And I'm so thankful that you were strong enough to see that. Because
I wish that Bethany could have had that opportunity.
Exactly.
But it was just 2 months in. Good Lord.
2 fucking months. You can't even wrap your head around fucking anything in 2 months. My deconstruction took me fucking years. Much less a fucking marriage exploding in your face, the fake marriage or whatever the hell it was. And also, he was sexually assaulting those young boys.
I know. Why was he not
What happened to that?
I guess none of them wanted to press charges because they just didn't want anything to do with him anymore. Like when they got out and they like saw the light and felt free finally, they probably just didn't want anything to do with it anymore, which I totally understand that.
Absolutely.
Especially in the whole like, it doesn't mean because you were coerced into having sex with someone of the same sex and maybe you're not attracted to them. It doesn't mean that you're gay. It doesn't mean that you're not gay. Like, it's just
a thing that happens.
It's your business, obviously. And there's nothing to be ashamed of saying that, like, because it wasn't your fault. It was never your fault that someone coerced you into a sexual act.
But I can see how much more some people might not like me saying this, but I can imagine that their shame was more than
maybe
what
greater.
A woman would be that in that situation.
See, that's the thing. It somehow makes it dirtier. Like, not really, but
exactly, especially in that context, in these circles, exactly.
With the IHOP KC thing, it would make it seem like a dirtier thing if you were assaulted by a man versus a woman.
Yeah,
being a male, like it doesn't make sense. It should just be equal ground there. But
it should be. But
with the extra connotation of homosexuality is sin and you're going to hell, it just adds another layer of unnecessary and unwarranted shame. So yeah, that's why I don't think they're gonna, do anything to try to get him arrested.
No, we already know how much they sweep sexual assaults from males to females under the rug.
I've got to talk more about IHOP stuff.
Girl.
I guess I need to do some
IHOP
stuff on that.
You know what? You know what we can do? I'm going to give you the case. You can cover Mike Bickle. Last year, He in 20, oh, this was in 2020. No, this was in this year, 2024. Yeah, happened in 2024. He exploded into like a whole scandal shit happened and all this stuff came out. And you should listen to, we've talked about it on this podcast before, Heaven Bent. It's an amazing podcast. When we covered the episode with the pastor who like chopped off the head of one of his congregants and tried to like make it look like it was him, and he tried to run away. Yeah, she covers that whole case in season 2 of her podcast, and then season 3 or season 4, I think it's season 4, that's IHOP, and she was like posting her episodes as the scandal was happening, and so then she was adding more episodes, and it was, I tell you, it's a great listen. But listen to that podcast, do your research. You can cover Mike Bickle and
excellent
IHOP. It's insane.
Will do. I'll get right on that.
Get right on that. All right. Well, let's do a hard right turn.
Yeah. Let's talk about good things. Here's a good thing. Your turn.
I thought you were about to talk. So I'm like,
I knew that. Yeah,
sorry. I cannot tell you what the good thing is, but you're going to find out tomorrow, Lola. And I just love your husband. He's so freaking adorable. And I wish I could tell you guys, but he's so sweet and adorable. And I was texting him and I'm like, oh, look at you.
He's a cutie pie. He's so sweet.
Yeah. All right, take your headphones off because I want to tell our listeners the secret, and I don't want you to hear. So.
Okay, I'm going to like step away, just like wave at me when to come back because I can kind of hear.
Okay, so tomorrow's Thanksgiving and Lola's not celebrating, but Andrew, her husband, he is making a full Thanksgiving dinner for her and he's doing all the cooking. So like while we were recording tonight, he was making cornbread and we're like, what the fuck are you making cornbread? And he was like, I need it for tomorrow. And she's like, we're not doing anything. Why do you need fucking cornbread? And he's like, don't worry about it. So I texted him and I'm like, what are you doing? Tell me the secret. He's like, I'm making Thanksgiving dinner for Lola. He's like, I'm doing everything. Like he's making, drumsticks, dressing, mashed potatoes au gratin, holy crap, green beans and drumsticks. I'm so happy. She has no idea. I'm like, look at you. He said I should not be applauded until it's all cooked and not being thrown away after I burn everything. So, okay, I'm waving now. See if she goes. There she goes.
I've plugged my ears so I wouldn't hear it too. Because I don't know, I was worried. I don't want to ruin anything.
I love that. So, you guys know a secret that Lola doesn't know.
Oh my God, this feels weird.
Also, they're not getting this episode till like
way after the fact.
Oh my gosh. Like this is like way end of January and we're all like talking about Thanksgiving. We're way ahead, guys. We're way ahead.
It's fine.
That's my palate cleanser. What's yours?
Here's my palate cleanser. What is my palate cleanser? I have to think for a minute.
Oh, well, you think my chicken had babies. Have I talked about that on the podcast?
Can we just do a double U? Can you just do both palate cleansers? Because I got
I'll
nothing.
Just take it all.
Thank you. Yeah,
have I talked about that?
I don't think I've talked about
this on the podcast. I am a chicken grandma.
Because it literally just happened.
Like a week ago. I know, I'm so excited.
It happened after we recorded last time. So.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, no, because they were born on Monday.
Oh, I
guess I just didn't mention it last week. Anyways,
regardless, she's a grandmother.
I'm a grandma chicken. Or I'm a chicken grandma.
A gramkin. She's a gramkin. Yeah, so, let's do that.
A gramkin. One of my chickens became super broody, and that's where they just want to collect all the eggs and lay on them, and they want to hatch them. And we were taking the eggs out from underneath her for a while, but she just would not leave the hen house, and we started getting worried about her. So I just said, fuck it. We have an isolation pen. Let's just see what happens. So we throw her in the isolation pen. Well, not really. Throw her in the,
Don't freeze it like that.
We just opened the door and put her in, and I gave her 4 eggs. And at first I gave her 6, and my husband's like, what are you doing? We have enough chickens. And I'm like, I just want to do an experiment. I want to see what happens. So I was like, well, maybe 6 is a little bit. So I took 2 out that same day, gave her 4, and 3 of them were fertilized. 1 of them was not. So the 3 ended up hatching, and we have 3 fucking adorable little baby chicks right now. And we're just letting nature take its course. So she's in the isolation pen with her chickens. She's teaching them everything. She is an amazing chicken mama. And it is the cutest thing to walk out there and you can't see any of them because they're like nestled underneath her.
Yeah.
They literally just nestle underneath her and cuddle in. It is the cutest thing to just like all of a sudden see their head poke out from underneath their mom.
Her feathers.
It's so cute.
Circle of life.
I love
Motherhood
it.
is beautiful.
And
I hope I can experience one day.
These baby chicks are so active. They are already doing stuff that like when we got our baby chicks, it took them like a week to be this active and they were terrified. These baby chicks are so happy and they're chirping at their mama and they're digging through. They're just, I'm like, are you really a week old? Like, Jesus.
Full ass baby chickens.
And the other chicks are like coming up and introducing themselves to him. And so I'm hoping that that makes the transition when they go into the big run with everybody a lot easier.
I'm screaming, crying, throwing up. That's so cute.
It's the cutest thing ever. I love it.
You have to send me videos of them. I want to see them more before they turn into
tomorrow.
Big chickens.
They're so cute because they have they're black with just like a little bit of gold, they're color on them. And the butts of them are the perfect golden color and the perfect shape of a butt. So they like walk away and your heart just like melts.
Little booty.
Cute little chicken butt.
What? Chicken butt.
I love it. So, okay. Also, Tyler was like, oh my God, babe, seriously, when I first put him in there. And then they hatched and he's like, okay, so next time I want to make sure that I was like, so you do want to have more. At that point, 2 out of the 3 had hatched. And I was like, we haven't even gotten all 3 hatched yet. Can like slow your roll. And he's like, I'm just saying, I think it'd be really cool if one of the buffs, like the actual mama of the babies, like if we could make sure and get one of her eggs. Like I want her to hatch one of her babies. I'm like, okay.
That's so sweet. I love that.
I have definitely become the crazy chicken lady. So there's
I'm here for it. We're all here for it. All right, guys.
Get a t-shirt.
That's it for today. Thank you for tuning in for this case. And with that, please stay safe, stay skeptical,
and steer clear of the cultish carousel.
Bye.
Also, heathens, if you're enjoying the show so far, please rate, like, subscribe, do all the things. Hop on over to our potty podcast over on our Patreon. It's $5 a month. We post over there. 2, if you're lucky, if it's one of those big months, we're going to post 3 times a month because we post over there every other week, just like we do over here on our normal show. Deadly Faith Podcast is brought to you by Choircast Network. It is produced by Laci Bean and Lola Robbins and audio engineered by Eric Howell. Thanks for listening.